Good evening. You are all welcome to the Distinction webinar series. I'm excited to have you all on this Saturday evening to talk about startups with a very special guest. Our topic today is what startups really need to scale: talent, infrastructure, and an enabling ecosystem, with a very special guest, Hanson Johnson. You are all welcome once again. Our guest today, Hanson Johnson, is a leading ecosystem builder and technical talent developer whose work has significantly shaped how innovation, communities, and startups grow across Nigeria. Hanson is the founder and CEO of Startup Innovation Hub, where his focus has remained consistent and intentional, creating the right environment, tools, and support systems for technical talents and digital entrepreneurs to flourish. Through this work, over 2,000 young people have accessed opportunities to build skills, innovate, and position themselves for global relevance. Beyond Startup Innovation Hub, Hanson now serves as the chairman of the board of the Innovation Support Network, ISN, Nigeria's umbrella body for innovation hubs. In this role, he provides strategic leadership to the nationwide network of hubs, strengthening collaboration, improving startup investment readiness, and deepening ecosystem coordination across the country. Hanson also served as country mentor to Google developer groups in Nigeria, working closely with Google's developer relations team to support developer welfare, access to technical resources, and engineering support, while helping to strengthen over 60 local GDG chapters nationwide. He brings a rare depth of perspective, combining technical ground with strong institutional and policy experience. In recognition of his contributions to technology and economic development, Hanson was awarded the Akwa Ibom State Productivity Order of Merit in ICT in 2022. He is a graduate of Electrical Electronics Engineering from Federal University of Technology, Owerri. Hanson's journey reflects the essence of today's conversation: building startups that scale by first building talent, institutions, and enabling ecosystems. Are we there? Please join me in welcoming Hanson Johnson, a very special guest and a dear friend of mine for over a decade. We will discuss what startups really need to scale. Mr. Hanson, you are very welcome.
Thank you very much, Faiz. Maga. Happy New Year.
Same to you, and Happy New Year to everyone as well.
Yeah.
It's really interesting while I was going through your profile. And before we go deeper, I see that we have a lot of things in common. I am also a graduate of electrical electronics engineering. I am now in the tech. So take us down memory lane. As a graduate of electrical electronics engineering, what happened? You are now a leading tech builder.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you very much, Faiz. You see, um, let's anyway, since we are going back memory lane, I am from Akwa Ibom State. I live in Uyo, at the capital of Akwa Ibom. And while growing up, because of proximity to oil companies, I had to be very serious with my science subject so that I would stand a chance working for one of the oil companies. But sometime in 2001, GSM became a thing when Obasanjo was the president. And that influenced, I was already technical. Used to love physics, all those hobby projects in physics textbook. So I became more drawn to telecom telecoms. And the specific reason I was drawn to that was because in our in our house then we didn't have a telephone. So whenever my parent wants to call their siblings abroad or outside our location, they need to go and book and queue in someone's house that owns a telephone. So I don't used to feel comfortable because in between some embarrassing moment, disturbing or distracting someone, just to talk to someone. And if you miss your the time it was scheduled for 2 minutes to talk, it becomes a thing. So that was already a problem to me. And my dream was to invent a phone that you can be carrying about without staying one place or booking scheduling. Yeah, there's at some point in the university, someone came from abroad to Akwa Ibom, and he was coming with Turaya phone. And I was told that this is a satellite phone. You can use it to make call anywhere, even when there's no network. I was so angry that someone was selling my idea. So I'm like, who is this guy that come with Royal phone? So I started digging deep, and that led me to start to learn programming. And fast forward. So even while I was in the university studying electrical electronics engineering, all my seminar, all my IT, uh, I did in an electronics firm, but I had to think of how I can make electronics smarter as at then. It was all about programming, programming, programming. I did not really, even while, apart from reading and writing exams to pass electrical electronics, I was more of thinking of how I can automate electronics, sort of. So that drew me towards learning programming. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Like I said, we have a lot in common. And coincidentally, I did my NYC in Akwa Ibom, even though
Can you imagine?
unfortunately we didn't meet then. Probably
Uh-oh.
we could have been co-founders and started
Ah,
the
can you
biggest
imagine?
startup then.
And I did my own NYC in Abuja.
Interested.
Yeah.
So fast forward in 20, around 2011, yes, you attended the Google developer group. Then it was called GTalk Abuja. We just started this thing very small. Um, didn't really know that people from far will even get to know about it and come. You appeared. I remember one of the early sessions,
Yeah.
and after a while I was talking about what is G-Talk then and so on. I noticed how keen you were paying attention and asked a lot of questions. To my surprise, just after a few weeks or months, not very long, I saw G-Talk Uyo. So can
Yeah.
you tell us, what was the drive? What was the interest?
Okay. Thank you. Fantastic.
Duka the same abin nan ne.
Someone's mic is on.
Can you unmute? Sorry.
Yeah, yeah, I've unmuted now. Thank you. Fantastic question. Curiosity led me to discovering G-Talk Abuja then, and I had to come down for that event. I learned more about it online, and I went ahead to read about Google technology user groups then. And that was exactly what I needed because as a developer then, I didn't know any other developer around me, like nobody. Meanwhile, they were there. So I used to think I'm the only person. Then other developers too don't know I exist. They used to think they are the only persons. So whenever I have a challenge, bugs, for example, I will go online, join a forum, and ask a question. Then, internet wasn't like as it is today. So you need to go to a cafe to go and ask a question some most times, then come back home. Then after 2 days, sometimes 1 week, someone will respond to your question, not with an answer, but rather the person will ask you, what operating system are you using? After 2 days. Then you now go back. Maybe if the guy responded to your question after 2 days, you may get to see the question after 4 days. You know? So you now go back only to say, oh, I'm using Windows 2000 or Windows XP, and go back home. Another person will now come and ask you, which IDE are you using? It used to be frustrating. So, and that's the only thing we were exposed to. It was a problem. How do I solve this problem? I didn't know what is community today. So community was what I needed, but I did not know what is a community, right? So I kept looking for answers. And I used to be angry that people around me don't do programming. Do I have to relocate to Abuja? Do I have to relocate to Lagos? You know. So when I saw that event, I came. How did you guys? I had to ask I came with truckload of questions. So I asked so many questions and you answered a couple of other people. And some other questions I also had to go back online. So I used to be an Android developer. I think it was in that event that I met Bulama, right? So Bulama became my Android mentor. So I used to ask a whole lot of questions, and the answers to those questions didn't end as answers. I had to put them to practice, you know. So when I came back, I attempted to gather people, not gather people, just put it out there. If you would be interested in learning more about this is my passion. This is what I do. This is what I want to do more. If you are like me, oh yeah, come, randomly, three, four, five people came out. The next time, more than that came out, and when all of these guys come out, oh, you're a developer, you're a developer. It was funnily interesting. So we have people like this in this town, you know. Oh yeah, now so let us register a GTOG so that we can be more structured and have access to engineering support from Google and all that. So we started. And let me not end this webinar in answering one question. So let me stop there, Faiz. I have a whole lot like the thing is just coming back and coming.
Yeah, like you said, is a lot. While you were saying all this, I had a lot of, memories as well.
Yeah,
But yeah, maybe we'll do a part two of this one day. There's a
absolutely.
lot to talk about, but it's really an interesting story. And recalling back then when the community was almost non-existent and
Yeah,
things like that. And all what you said is what I literally went through, going online on forums and searching here and there, and so on. But I recall, attending the launch of the GTOG Uyo,
yeah,
and was fortunate to be the keynote speaker, and
yeah.
I was wowed by the crowd then. I was GTOG Uyo is already bigger than GTG Abuja, and so on. But for how while I was, even though I was doing GTalk, GDG Abuja, my main focus was building FlexiServe then. But for
Yeah.
you, how did you recognize early that building community is important and you focus on that, not really focusing on building a startup?
Yeah. So, um, what drove me was problem solving. I didn't have any idea what I was doing, but as I encounter a challenge, I don't want to leave it. I attempt to solve it. And when I solve it, it becomes a solution to my problem and enable me to do stuff better or live a better life. So as I grow, I'm not growing because I want to grow. I'm growing because I don't leave my problems. I attempt to solve them. And while by then I was doing them out of passion, like out of everything, anger, not for business, So there was no business model. There was no reason to charge money for anything. We're just solving the problem that come our way. So fast forward to now, it is now that I understand that it is community before codes. Community before code, like coding, community before code. It's community before products, community before solutions. And I wasn't deliberately doing that. The thing just, I was lucky, I can put it that way. Anyway, I wasn't really lucky. In 2012, I was invited to London by Google for Global Developer Summit, my first international trip, and that gave me exposure. When I got there, everyone answered the question, what are you working on? What are you working on? I was not working on anything. I wasn't working on anything. So when they asked me, what are you working on? Not really. I'm learning this. Okay. When I now go and ask another person, what are you working on? They'll be telling you what app they're working on, what's in a startup they're working on, what problem they're trying to solve. Everyone, they were solution focused to problems, solutions oriented. There was nobody there that was just coming for events. They came to get answers to their problems. I also went to get answers to my problem, but I wasn't building a product, but I was trying to build a community that can support me to build products. So I got to ask questions there also, and I got answers. In 2014, I was invited by Google to Silicon Valley, their headquarters. And when I got there too, they did a documentary of me, and I met Sundar, now the CEO of Alphabet and Google. By then, he was vice president Google. I met Larry Page, Sergey Brin, the founders of Google. Met Schmidt. Schmidt was the CEO of Google then. And I can remember Schmidt saying that Google, in Google Doc, that share button, what makes Google Doc collaborative? Share. You can share with other people and collaborate. The CEO of Google said that by then, and Schmidt, something Schmidt, Eric Schmidt, he said that he is the one that fought against that particular feature on Google Doc. And it didn't make sense to him. Like, people are building technology. There's Microsoft out there, and we're trying to compete to make what? So he's trying to answer the question, what are you doing differently from Microsoft that is offline or a desktop application? So they are going to the cloud to make it work. And some students coming for IT is saying that share button is what would be the killer feature for. He frustrated that as approval of that share button for some time. Then at some point, because of pressure, just say, if you guys are sure, just let's see it. I'm not sure it will be able to survive, He said, as at 2014, then it was share button that made Google Doc successful. And why? Because of the community they built around the users. So I came back with that. And it was in 2014 that we registered Start Innovation Hub. As I came back from Silicon Valley, I went straight to, before I came back, I asked, how do I start? I know what I want to do, and it's scary. Like, I can't look for money for it. It's scary what I want to do, the solution to my problem. It's scary. I cannot do it. They said I can do it. Just go and start. How do I start? Just go and start. So when I came back, I went to Corporate Affairs Commission and incorporated Stats Innovation Hub. Like, I had to use the name Stats to hunt me everywhere, right? So that's exactly how it is. Then I wasn't also deliberately building this community as if I want to build a product for the community. I was just building a community that, how you want to bounce back conversations with other people and you feel good. People can engage, the same way people talk about football and other things. Can we discuss technology and arrive at something? That's what I wanted to achieve, not really to build product. I didn't think of product because to build a product was too expensive for me then. And only me cannot do it. And I don't have funds to, gather people to form a team. So I had to focus on building a community, not for business, not to even build any products. For whatever reason, I was happy doing that. So it was as I grew in my career, I got to understand that that was the best thing to do. And today we are training people to build communities first. So community is not just people coming together. So when
Yeah.
people gather, you have to be able to identify their challenges. And irrespective of what your startup idea was, focus on providing solutions that has viable business model to the problems your community members are having. And it is until they say that they are willing to pay for your solution or they are willing to use it before you go and build. It is a free research component. Like you have the problem, the people that have the problems, and they have told you their problems for free without you going to look for them and research. The only thing you have to do is provide their solutions to them the way they want it, not the way you want it. So that's what has been driving this. Thank you.
Interesting.
Yeah.
It's just like the Silicon Valley, where it has become something incredible because of the community, and
Yeah.
uh, very well done for the good job you've done. I've been to Start Innovation Hub. I love Akwa Ibom. I hope to come back again.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
what
yeah,
you've done, it's really amazing, helping a lot of founders, training and building talent. But you said something very important. Back
yeah.
then, building products was expensive. You need to get funding, you need access to the market, and so on. So let's talk about some hard truths about Nigerian startups,
Yeah,
where data have shown that over 70% of Nigerian startups fail within the first 5 years.
yeah,
And even Nigeria is one of the biggest countries that get funding in Africa, but yet
yeah,
only a small percentage scale beyond seed or Series A.
yeah.
So, having worked with a lot of startups, founders, and in the community, in your view, what is the main challenge? What are the structural gaps preventing startups from growing?
Yeah. So that's a fantastic question, and it has informed many people ask me, I don't even want to go to this story. So I'm supposed to be living out of Silicon Valley, right? And I said no to a couple of opportunities because of what I got inspired. Like they sparked my imagination to see what is possible. Africa is virgin. We've not solved our problems. So if you are going to Silicon Valley, you are going to look for a job and you get hired, and only you there, no impacts, no, you live a better life, but only you and your family, nuclear family, most of the time, cannot even take care of your extended family. But in Africa, we have a whole lot of problems to solve, and we are better positioned as Africans to solve our problems because of the vibe, the yeah, the vibe from Silicon Valley. Many people, many founders, let me be specific, many founders has jumped on the bandwagon of thinking that funding, having more fun is scaling. You know, yeah, we have also seen how funding has killed businesses in Nigeria. Somebody will raise maybe $2 million and shut down, or $20 million shuts down. So is funding really a problem? You know, some people pursue this valuation thing and they don't, like, you don't have revenue. You have a product and you are still building, you don't have revenue, like zero revenue. Nobody's using your product and paying for it. But you are racing. As you are racing, your valuation goes up. You race, it goes up, race, it goes up. At some point, when the people that need the money want their money back, there's no revenue to
Mm,
really use in in
Penny.
uh, in attaching, how do they call it, backing this investment. There's no real revenue to back this investment. And if revenue stop coming from that manner, it becomes a problem. You downsize, the CEO start looking for a job to survive. So most founders think that funding, it really, really matters. Yes, it matters. Scale is a systems game. You can scale without funding. You can scale with access to market. they say cash flow is king. Some people say cash flow is queen. So if you place it side by side, I have a fashion business. I sew clothes, and an investor comes and say, I'll give you 20 million naira as investment and I will take equity. Then another person says, I'll give you 10 schools to sew uniforms to them. I'll go for the uniforms that they'll pay me cash. I get customer portfolio. I have evidence I've done work and money comes. And I can use that as my portfolio to get more opportunities, get contracts, and still surpass the 20 million that would have come. And when the 20M comes, I go to hire people. And once the 20 million comes, they want to influence you to hire quality people. There's no business yet. There's no product. You're not in the market. And these guys start earning big salaries because they have to survive to do the work. And there's no local market to support what you do. So the pressure from too much funding, suppresses your organic nature and you're not able to match. It's like seesaw. Too much money presses you down. And for you to be able to acquire what it takes for you to balance and break even and now go up this way, it becomes very challenging. Is funding good? Yes. But even though they offer you 20 million, know when you need 2 million before you get to the 20 million, except you are into something else. Then, if you look across Africa, the funding cycles have been volatile. VC's deal activity has dropped significantly between 2022 and 2024. And this data is also communicating to the global market, sending some signals out there, and people are leveraging on this information to make decisions. So why do startups fail within this growth threshold? Talents is not just developers. These people that are failing, do they have talent? When we talk about talent, people seem to bring it down to the level of technical talents that are going to build products. Beyond building, you need operators. And if someone is not communicating well or not responding to people well, no matter how good your product is, that can frustrate the success of your product. And especially at this phase that you are trying to achieve product market fit. So founders, they shouldn't over-index on hiring engineers and ignore operators. Balance, know what, at this point, you're not building a product, you are building a business. Know what the business needs to survive. People say business is a living thing. So whatever you give to yourself as a human being, to also consider giving it to your business. Product delivery is as important as engineers. Those delivery managers, they are doing serious work. If they don't deliver, revenue don't come in. Customer success is a key thing. Quality assurance. If you look at informally, behind the scenes, be offline, not on record, off record. If you x-ray company, let's use example, fintech. If someone recommends a particular fintech company for you, you'll be hearing someone say, no, their support is bad. They recommend this one. No, they are not offline. They may go down. People have a perception of you. You may not even know, but that also shows that you may have tend to ignore these guys. Could be customer success, could be quality assurance, could be finance operations, compliance, partnerships, whatever it is. And if you're not also compliance, CBN and the likes, the regulators will come after you. Scaling requires role clarity and management maturity. In short, apart from role clarity, management maturity. Know when you are a startup founder and know when you should be the CEO. If you know you don't have what it takes to be CEO, it is okay to hire a CEO, very experienced. If we can learn from the likes of Google, Schmidt at some point was the CEO of Google until these guys were ready to be CEO before they came to be the founders, before they came to be the CEO. And today, some other person is. So that you are the founder doesn't mean that you can be founder of this startup, but you are the customer care officer. It is very, very okay like that. So don't let ego or a trend you are following, force your business to die within 5 years. because sometimes even when you have funding, the business can die, even though funding also is a major factor why businesses die within this period. So
And
founders, please know that you must stop being the only engine. Let others help you scale your business. Thank you.
thank you very much. From what I get, beyond funding, there's a lot more about startups. Talking about product market fit, you need the market, you need the right team and talent to make these things, put everything together and so on. And I resonate with a lot of the things you've been saying, building FlexUp. Fortunately, when we started, the startup thing was not really known, and funding was not even something we really knew about or understand.
I
But
want to ask you a question, Fai.
yes,
When you started, who used to do your UI?
yeah, I, I, I'm doing UI and the other engineers now.
Continue. So there
Yeah,
was no career for UI developer, I mean UI designers. There was no career for UI UX designers.
yeah.
So if you have a career now, you're lucky.
Yeah, so there's a lot around you getting early customers, product market fit. For us, we were not distracted with the hype. Like I just like YC will say, most people mistaking fundraising or they take it like as a glamorous thing, not knowing
Yeah,
that it's something really very complex on its own and can be a detriment if you
yeah.
don't get it right and so on and so forth. But for tech building on all the things you've explained, um, and Nigeria and Africa at large, when we talk about infrastructure, people always think about internet, maybe access to other hardware or cloud and so on. But you've touched around systems on how startups work. Can you expatiate more when we are really looking at infrastructure for startups and how that will help startups succeed and scale?
Yeah, thank you, Faiz. This is another intelligent question, and thank you for bringing it up. Whenever we talk about structure, people people reduce it down to power, internet, and maybe workspace. And that's where the hub come in, and hub also actually provide all these components that you need to build. So beyond power and internet, infrastructure includes institutions and shared services. That's why it's very important to not to cover your books selfishly. While you cover your IP, intellectual property, there's a lot we can share in the spirit of collaboration. If I know how to copy and paste and you know how to cut and paste, and the contract is for a team that can copy and cut and paste, both of us, if we don't collaborate, we will not get the job. And the jobs for copy and pasting alone is maybe 100K. Cutting and pasting is 100, maybe 150K. But to copy and paste is 1 million. And if we collaborate to do the job, both of us will earn more than copying and pasting and cutting and pasting individually. That's the advantage of collaborating with other people. Infrastructure is also founder coaching. This is very, very critical. If you are lucky to have a coach that is coaching you as a founder, it means you're going to be avoiding so many mistakes, avoidable mistakes. It could be compliance issues. Some of us register companies. The startup you are working on, you have registered the company 3, 4, 5 years ago. You've not done annual returns to CAC. You have not paid tax. Some of you don't even open bank accounts. Some open bank accounts and use the account to be collecting money. No management, excuse me, management accounts and all that. And by the time you are ready to use it, for whatever reason, maybe you are trying to sign a deal with another partner and they need some compliance documents, you now go back to do compliance. Government agencies will tell you that you need to pay 1 point something billion or 200 million or even 2 million, you know. to get those compliance. And most of these monies will be fined for failing to do. Most times people resort to dishing that name they register and they treasure so much and starting afresh to register a new name. And when you register a new name, they might now say, for you to work with us, you must have been registered 3 years ago, 3 or 5 years ago. And the other company you are not compliant with met the duration of registration or existence, but not compliant. The new one is a fresh baby and does not have the compliance document for the previous years because so compliance, legal templates, HR support, cloud credits, products review panel, procurement pathways, distribution partnerships, all these things can be, recognized as infrastructure. And once you have them in place, you can build anything and it thrives. Startups don't just need a desk like we may always think. We need an environment that reduces the cost of learning. That is my message for you today. You don't just need a desk.
Yeah.
You need an environment that reduces the cost of learning. Thank you.
Yeah. This emphasizes the importance of community,
Yeah.
institutions, and so on.
And let me quickly add that when I say environment, consider where you live, like your city, your house. Some people migrate to another country or to another city just to enable them build. When they finish building, they come back to where the market is. So there are cities, metro cities, where scale can be felt almost immediately. But credible reporting can also show you that some highlights infrastructure deficits, no water, and the environment or the city is not like there is a livability constraint and how they affect what you do, even talent retention. So if housing for me to get a 2-bedroom flat is 5 million, and that means it's going to impact the kind of talents you have and that directly influences the cost of delivering your services or even the cost of building, the cost of building. So these are things we need to consider when we are X-raying the infrastructure to support our build.
Interesting. Talking about institutions and support and things like that, you've done a lot in Start Innovation Hub. You are now the chairman of ISN, working with over 200 hubs nationwide. And what we've been saying is this startup journey, it's really difficult and you need all this kind of support. From your experience over the years, how have the hubs been supportive in terms of Nigeria? What are they currently doing and is there any room for taking this to another level?
Yeah, absolutely. So hubs, I want to quickly say this so that I don't forget, hubs are not event centers. People people tend to be doing events without a reason somehow for the event. I don't know. So hubs are not event centers. Hubs are so if you have been okay, let me put it this way, let me rephrase. Hubs are not event centers the way you may perceive, because you may be seeing from outside that, hey, these hubs, they're always doing events. Events in town, okay, check this hub or check a hub, check their pages, they might have events. Hubs are not event centers. Hubs are conversion engines from talent that comes in to team. So if you come in as a talent, while in the hub, you form a team. You've been converted from a talent, singular talent, to a team. And when you form a team, you are working on something. They convert that team to startups. When you work on startups, the hub is existing to facilitate you becoming investment ready. So from talent to team, they convert it to team, convert it to startups, and convert it to investment readiness. And investors takes you away to exit. That is what the hub do. So ecosystems, like what the hubs are trying to achieve or do, they reduce friction, increase learning speed. I've talked about this earlier, environment that facilitates your learning. So working, I've seen that in myself. What we achieve, what individuals achieve at home in 2 years, working from the hub, working from my hub, and let me take responsibility. They achieve it in 3 months. Sorry, not 3 months, 6 months. Some people do 4, some do 5. What on their own they do 2 years at home. Why? Remember when we started this conversation, Faiz asked a question, and I said we used to go to the forum and ask a question and come back. Before you can get answer to your question, sometimes 1 month, 4 weeks don't go, sometimes 2 weeks, sometimes 1 week. It is on very rare cases that you ask. In short, you have to first learn how to ask questions so that another person will not come back and be asking you questions to understand you, to answer your question. So you need to learn how to ask questions so they can also get answers in 1 or 2 responses. When you're in the hub, when you're at home, when you encounter a bug, you feel like sleeping. Nobody can help you. You wait until you find solution somewhere outside, or you go and sleep, then wake up refreshed. Your brain can now be able to figure out what was wrong. If you're in the hub, the problem you are facing now, 50 other people have already faced that problem and they have solutions. So anybody you talk to gives you an answer and you move ahead. So it facilitates your learning pace. That's what the hub does. And the community, not just a hub, any community mustn't be a hub. So using ISN Lens, where you have over 230 hubs across the country, we have seen patterns like where collaboration is strong, the founder outcome also improves seamlessly. Where founders are isolated, the same mistakes repeats and people complain. They say everything is hard. We've had cases where university students come with their parents and they say they don't want to do programming because it's difficult. They want to do something else, less technical. And I will take a bet on them. So we will teach you programming, and if you don't understand, we will refund the money you want to pay. So come and learn programming from programmers that don't use textbooks. Programmers that are coding, they are building. It's different from a teacher using copying codes on board and teaching you how to code. So it is always successful. These guys, I used to think this thing is difficult. And I discover it's not difficult. If you have passion and interest and you sit down to learn, you understand. But if you're not a technical person, don't force yourself. You won't understand. Not that it is difficult. So using ISN Lens and what we see around the country within the Innovation Support Network, we have seen that where there is collaboration, the founder outcomes improve. You can have access to funding, you can have access to opportunities, access to partnerships, access to government supports, access to policy and legal framework interpretation and coverage. There's a whole lot. But when you are alone, you are not able to. I've seen situations, most situations where just because you are in a community, you knew that there is an all expense paid trip to maybe Cairo. There is an exhibition here, and these guys are willing to sponsor some people, and you are working on climate change products or climate related products just because you were in a community and you have access to information and you are working on that blindly, so you can't compare someone that is isolated and someone that is within a community. Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, when we talk about community hubs and so on, we can not always run away from government as well.
Yeah.
Government play a very critical role. So from your engagement with government and
Yeah.
national stakeholders,
Yeah.
we've seen a lot of initiatives. We have the Nigeria Startup Act now
Yeah.
that is supporting startups and so on. But what have you learned so far in your engagement with government? What are the gaps? How can things significantly improve to position Nigeria as a major global player?
Yeah, thank you very much. Working within the community can also be associated or similar in a way to I don't want to say working with government or being closer to government, but following up government, to know what is happening, and you also act. I've seen cases where people don't believe that government support is real. Government support don't work. You know, I have benefited from government support without knowing anybody. I just saw something and I applied and I got it. And people will now come and ask me, how did you get it? I think I just saw it and I applied. I don't know anybody. I don't know in this Nigeria. I don't know anybody. I applied. I got it. There is a project we we did last year. I'm not the one that applied. My managers in the office just saw it and applied, and they got it. Even me too, I was surprised. When I came back, how did you guys get this project? Say they saw it in a newspaper and they applied, they shortlisted them and they, bid it and they got it in Nigeria. So when you see an opportunity, please apply. What has shaped me and other people I know is that when you see an opportunity and you try to apply, even if it is a YC, a Y Combinator opportunity, and you try to fill the form to apply, they now say, hey, we need your task clearance for 3 years, and you don't have. Do you know that what you have learned there is like having MBA from Harvard? For you to see Expo that you need task clearance for 3 years to be able to go beyond this stage to stand a chance to qualify. What you have to do is, if you are interested in towing this path, go and start working towards task clearance. If you did not register a company at all, go and register now so that next year you have 1 year task clearance. You know that from the fourth year, you need to apply for this again. The solution is not for you to start complaining that this thing is not working or is working and all that. The next is you apply, you're not shortlisted. And if they have a support line or you can talk to, you reach out to them, you apply, do but you were not shortlisted. They will tell you why you were not shortlisted. Write it down. Next year or next opportunity, do that thing that they said you did not do. Let's see whether they will shortlist you or not. If they don't shortlist you, ask again, what did you not do well? Or what didn't you do well? So that they can, if they tell you, you'll be surprised that by the time you do everything well, you'll be shortlisted and you get it. For example, for going back to this webinar topic, you need to know about startup.gov.ng. Startup.gov.ng. It is coming out of the provision, one of the provisions from the Nigeria Startup Act, that startups are going to be labeled in Nigeria as startups for them to be able to stand a chance of getting support from government and any other people that will pass through the government to support startups. And that Startup Act also gave provision for the Startup Consultative Forum, which is a private sector driven organization that is working with the federal government to implement Nigeria Startup Act, coordinating the private sector and working with the National Council for Digital Innovation and Entrepreneurship, NCDIE, something like that, where four members of the Startup Consultative Forum are nominated to represent the technology ecosystem at the presidency. So last year, we constituted that ACF, Startup Consultative Forum, and the council. And currently, we are collating memos from the whole ecosystem in Nigeria. We have thematic leads. We have fintech thematic areas. We have agri-tech thematic, health tech, ed tech, etc. to anything. What happens in these thematic areas? All the people that are interested in ed tech, they come together using the templates I will share and saying that this is what they want government to fix. And if they fix these things, ed tech will thrive. So what you want government to fix for edtech to thrive. For example, for fintech to thrive in Nigeria, we needed NIPS, the Nigerian Interbank Switching System. We needed NIPS, we needed BVN, etc. So you don't need to come and say you need funding. Who should they? There's something that if there is NIPS affect everybody. What do you think can be fixed in Nigeria so that edtech startup founders can leverage and do better than any other edtech in the world. If you have such ideas, reach out to me. I'm going to connect you to the edtech lead for that particular thematic area. You work together to create a memo. That memo, we are sending it to the presidency, the National Council for Digital Innovation and Entrepreneurship. In that council, the president is the chairman of the council, vice president is the vice. In the absence of the president, the minister of communications is there. In the absence of the president, the minister will be the one to chair the council. Central bank governor is there. Senate president is there. Other government professionals that the problem we are trying to solve is that if we stay on this webinar and say that we need XYZ to succeed, after we have left this place, nobody takes any action that government can act. So highest, we may talk to one commissioner, talk to one minister, unofficially. No, there's no official way of reporting our case and getting feedback. Or if we keep talking on social media and ranting and talking about the trends, one lawmaker might want to pick it up and push and make a law or policy out of it. It wasn't structured, it was fragmented. So this particular approach is that president is there, CBN governor that will make money available is there, Senate president that will legislature, all the arms of government is represented, and we sit on one table, and everyone knows what our problem is. The guy that would approve, the guy that will release, the guy that will legislate, it solved that problem in one sitting, as compared to I'm trying to see someone that will enable us to see the president, before their tenure is over and nothing is really not done. That is what Startup Act is going to enabling us achieve. And this wouldn't have been possible if active citizens were not advocating for the arts and volunteering, most of them for free, to make sure that these acts see the light of the day. So now that the act is active and the forum has been constituted, under and NIDA, they are working every day, to make sure that we facilitate the pace of sending our memo to the council. Please, citizens, what we owe ourselves is to follow up this stuff and act. So what will happen is that when you now see people succeeding later, by the time you want to now go and join the queue, maybe the money has finished. because
Yeah,
money can finish. So please, when you see government, I know it can be frustrating sometimes, but if you see government opportunity, apply. You don't lose anything in trying to apply. Thank you.
yeah, thank you for that. We believe the money will not finish; it will keep growing. And yeah, so as you've been speaking, I'm just thinking in my mind that community still collaboration engagement is really the way to go. We have
Yeah.
the Startup Act now, but like you said, we have to make it work and we have to engage. It's a platform for us to now engage the government and articulate our problems, drive government to even do more. This really buttresses the roles of the community, what you've been doing, the
Yeah.
role as the chairman ISN. We believe there will be a lot of contribution so that we have really thriving environment, systems, infrastructure to make the startup ecosystem flourish. As
Yeah.
we are begin to wind down, I think we will take the last question so that we have some time for maybe one or two questions. But
Yeah.
there's a lot to talk about, but because of time, I believe we have many founders listening now and building companies based on your experience working with startups, community, and so on. Your final word or advice, what should founders really focus on to build sustainable, lasting companies that last beyond hype cycles, funding seasons, accelerators, and so on? What are the non-negotiables they must get right early and sustain?
Fantastic. So, um, So companies can be built from anywhere. Great companies can come from anywhere. You have to know that, you know. If you're a founder and you are outside the major hubs where things happen, then you must be more intentional about networks, communities. You need to be more intentional about partnerships and access to markets. Very, very important. Networks, partnerships, and access to markets. So no matter where you are, if you're in the metro cities, the ecosystem that supports what you are doing, you won't struggle much, to be able to, proximity favors you already. Proximity can do a whole lot. If you are in Abuja, there is something you will be doing, and proximity will just enable you right on. But if you are building from KB, you may need to know people, to be able to still ride on them to achieve what you want to achieve. You may need to want to build distribution earlier when others, the distribution have been built for them. You will have to build your own distribution pipeline or channels. Another thing you have to be very conscious of is that you must have repeatable customer acquisition path. If you have customer acquisition path, you will fail because those customers have to come back for you to stand a chance to grow or scale. So repeatable customer acquisition path, not one-off sales. You must have delivery rhythm, weekly shipping cadence, quality assurance, daily discipline, a way of getting feedback from the people that are buying from you. So that's what I term delivery rhythm. And again, almost all startup founders, except you have been coached or trained earlier, we don't have processes, laid down processes. Have you seen how an eatery or a chain of businesses, it is eatery that is more common to us here that have a chain of businesses. Have you seen how eateries operate? The CEO is not there, and he has maybe 100 locations across the country, and he is not working in any of those offices. If they hire people, they train people, and they run the business as if the CEO would have been there telling people what to do. So it takes time to do that. I know also that it takes money too, to be able to design those things. But that is what this is one of the systems you need to put in place. If you don't do that thing now, there is only 3 of you working there. Imagine when 1,000 of you are working. You'll be quarreling, fighting, blood pressure. So even if you are the only one, don't rush to market. Rush to put down a system. So if somebody will call, if you call, this is what you do, pick the call. This is what you will say when you pick the call. After picking the call, if it's what you can handle it and record it and send feedback. If you know what you can handle, do this, do that. You lay down those processes as if you are writing it for a 2-year-old baby. If a new team member joins, that is what you need to hand over to that new team member. And it saves you the stress of overtraining and talking, and you say this guy is not smart. Meanwhile, the guy is smart. So processes over any other thing. Even if you're not a startup founder, you need processes to live your life at home or even in your workplace as an employee. We don't also track numbers, retention margins, gross margins, customer acquisition costs, etc., etc. How do we leverage ecosystem mentors within the ecosystem or community? We have mentors, we have peers, partners, hubs, distribution channels. These things to go on your own to get them is very expensive, but from within the community you can get them for almost free or at a very subsidized rate. So my charge to you founders in the next 30 days is to pick one constraint and solve it deeply. From across all our conversations today, what do you think is your constraint? And now that you have known what to do, just pick one. Don't do all of them. Pick one and solve it well. It could be talent structure. Take note, talent is not technical talent alone, engineers. Talent cuts across anyone, all your personnel you need, even cleaners. Cleaner is talent. So take your compliance very seriously. It is easier for you to get for the hub to have a lawyer and you under a hub benefit from that lawyer as compared to you going to hire your own lawyer. That might scare you and you say you can't afford it. So join an ecosystem deliberately, but not for pictures and swags and free food during event.
Thank
So
you.
join it for learning speed. Build credibility. Build credibility. Whether you are learning, whether you are building, whether you are looking for a job, learn credibility and be consistent. Let what people say when you are not there is what will keep your business running and growing more. If you cannot be recommended when you are not there, you're on your own. People come to my office. We don't have office signboard in our office, but people always come here. And someone came and said, um, it took me some time to locate you guys. And I asked, how do you even know us? Say it saw us online. Okay, that's a signboard. That's a signboard. So we are not existing for anyone passing. It's not bad to have a signboard, though, but we just decided to filter. I mean, at some point we'll get that signboard done. We decided to filter. So we branded ourselves as to be a need to some specific set of people. And these people, whenever they need that thing, they find it online. They Google that thing. So we make sure that we are available for who needs us. And when you need us, you can now call us on phone. So I discovered you guys here. How can I get to you? Do you guys work today? Say no, we work on Monday to Friday. The conversation happens. But I also know that we are losing other people that would have been passing by and seeing the signpost and coming in. So build credibility so that both the physical signposts, your physical marketing will add to the guys that you would have also lost if you were not online and credible. So,
Thank you very much.
and is it time for me to say my bye-byes?
Yeah, let's to take a few questions.
Okay.
Uh, okay, meanwhile, let me use this opportunity to also quickly discuss on distinction. We've been talking about founders, startups, building, talent, capacity, and so on. And we have distinction, our AI-powered teaching and learning platform that empowers creators to build any course in 2 minutes and also gives every student AI agent to personalize their learning. For the purpose of today's discussion, you can find very interesting and relevant courses on distinction, startups in the age of AI. These are 12 wisely aligned courses that teaches you all the things that we've been talking about, from product market fit to investment, getting your customers, distribution channel, and things like that. In the AI age, how is it different now? Like YC have been saying, building products now have been made really simple and is being kind of democratized. But building a business is not. You need to understand all these things, and you can find all these 12 courses talking about metrics, distribution, how to build teams and talent, how to pitch and raise funding in an AI crowded market. All these are available at distinction.app/startups. And today, we are offering a very special discount in honor of our special guest, Hanson. You can see the coupon here, Hanson20. Just visit distinction.app/startups. All these courses are available. Use the code to get 20% discount for the next 30 days. Also, visit distinction.app/learners. There are more courses. We have CPD UK accredited courses in soft skills, in AI, and other relevant courses that you'll find. So visit today and explore. We can take think 1 or 2 questions before we close it a day. If you have a question, can raise your hand. Do we have any on the chat?
So before any question comes in, well done, Faiz, on the distinction. And the 20% discount is my own way of supporting founders who also want to leverage. Knowledge is key. We learn every day. Any day you stop learning, you are also starting to die. So we are in the knowledge-based economy. So you learn every day. Once you start being irrelevant, it means you have also stopped learning. So I'm believing that the 20% off will make it more, make it easier for people that are interested to sign up on Distinction. I've used Distinction. I don't know. Well done, guys. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Ahmad, you can unmute.
Okay. Hi, Faiz. Confirm you can hear me?
We can hear you.
Okay. Thank you to the guest, Hanson, for the amazing insights and discussion. So my question is a simple one. I don't know, it's a dilemma many founders and entrepreneurs face. How do you navigate that period between when you want to start a business, you've made the decision to start a business, but you're not very sure, or you're yet to find the actual product that fits your passion, one, and also the market that exists in your environment or the larger environment around you. Usually, most founders fail in the initial state in their first product, mostly their second product also, and only begin to get traction in their third product or in their third when they pivot, so to speak, when they pivot. So how do you maintain sanity within that period, and how do you find what really works? Thank you very much.
Fantastic question, Ahmad. I have been there. I'm sure, Faiz, you've been there too. So that's where you differentiate between a real founder and who thought being an entrepreneur is a shortcut to becoming rich. Entrepreneurship is hard. Like, to start a business and run a business is hard. It's very, very hard. So you must have that conviction to want to do this, and you get ready for the challenges you will face. But going straight to your question, you want to solve a problem, or you've even started to solve a problem, and you're not getting, you've designed on paper. On paper, you're supposed to be making 2 million naira every day. But so far, you are spending from your pocket. Nothing is coming in. I've also been where they said carry out research, talk to get feedback, user feedback. We have designed the product. We went to potential users and we asked them, do you guys like this? They said yes. What features do you want? They told us. And we put the feature, went back to them. Do you like it like this? They said yes. When that product got launched, none of them used it. Even when it happens only in Nigeria. The people that gave you feedback and you built based on what they said they want, and you have launched, they are not using it. And you go to another place now and ask a question, would you guys love this kind of solution that solve this? Is it a problem? You say yes. Would you use it? Yes, they will use it. 100% or 80% say they will use it. You now present them the solution. They don't use it. So you, beyond schooling, beyond products, beyond any reason that you built for, you have to understand the people, their lifestyle, profile them, meet them at the point of their need. That is why it is always recommended that you don't build and impose your solution on users or customers. You get their problem, you suggest what would be the solution, and they agree that that's the solution, and you do something scrappy and give them. If that scrappy could be Google Form, could be WhatsApp group, could be flyer. Don't rush to build an app. Don't rush to build a website. It's expensive. That scrappy can be phone call. Gather people, get their phone number, and be calling them, matchmake them when if they respond to that, that means you can now digitalize that and start managing stuff. If you grow like that gradually, don't rush to get 1,000 customers from day one. Satisfy one person. And when you are ideating and designing your products, use cases. People make the mistake of saying we are designing it for students. Don't design for all the students. We are designing it for women. Don't design for all the women. You can design for a pregnant woman in the kitchen. A pregnant woman in the kitchen is different from women. It's even different from pregnant woman or women. This thing I'm designing for pregnant women. You can design for a pregnant woman in the parlor or living room, a pregnant woman at work, a pregnant woman while driving. If you solve a problem for that user at the point of his or her need, it is difficult for them to ignore it. And they are the ones that will now tell your story, how you are doing well. If you now want to charge them, they are happy to pay. That's one way of solving that problem. But the other way, please have a mentor that will guide you. Be quick and very smart enough to understand when the market's decision changes. People that want to patronize you, even though they are using it and they are not using it again, you may not know the reason. Get to research and know why their behavior has changed, and also do something to retain them. There's no forward. It's one way to solve this problem, but one, be passionate. Live within the community, leverage resources like mentors, coaches, to be able to navigate some of these things so that they don't weigh you down. Once you feel like you are frustrated, it can affect your productivity. Thank you.
Thank you. And thank you, Armand, for this important question. And coincidentally, in the list of courses, we have finding ideas worth building in the AI era. We have user discovery at AI speed. I believe other founders here listening, you can see it's a lot. The startup journey is a lot, and there's a lot to learn. So we thank you, Hanson, for this masterclass. I think we should organize a special one to take a specific topic and do some kind of masterclass. But because of time, we are rounding up here. Thank you all for joining. Thank you, our special guest, Hanson Johnson. We look forward to more conversations. Thank you.
So, thank you too. I want to say this as we close. Scaling is not magic at all. It is not vibes. It is not going to the media. It is disciplined execution supported by the right environment. So scaling is not magic, not vibes. It is disciplined execution supported by the right environment. Thank you for having me, Faiz.
Thank you very much. Have a nice weekend.
And you too. Bye-bye.